Hi, I'm Daisy Bates, a civil rights activist from Little Rock, Arkansas. Due to the lack of support by black clergy in Little Rock, I was the sole mentor for the 9 black students who wanted to attend Central High, but were initially denied entrance because of the color of their skin. I am going to tell you the story about the Little Rock Nine, known as the Little Rock Crisis, and the integration of Central High School. By 1914, Jim Crow laws created 2 societies within the nation, one black and one white. Blacks and whites could not eat in the same restaurant, use the same bathroom, sit in the same waiting room, or attend the same school. Activists throughout the South worked to debar such racial inequalities by working towards integration. By 1957, work to integrate bus systems had begun with the Montgomery bus boycott. Activists also worked to desegregate lunch counters and waiting rooms. The next step was education. Often black schools had inferior equipment and hand-me-down books. Activists believed that integration in the educational system was necessary in order to give blacks the same opportunities as whites. The real victory, however, was the ruling of Brown v. Board of Education in 1954. The decision declared the segregation of schools as unconstitutional and that all schools across the nation should be integrated and that action should take place with due speed. In Little Rock, however, there was no change being made soon enough. Due to the governor election and the 3-phase plan, the integration of schools, including Central High School, was delayed. What was troubling to me was that Arkansas was a progressive state. We were moving forward in improving race relations, and Governor Orville Faubus seemed to be all for it. However, while the issue of segregation was taking place, so was the election for governor, and Faubus desperately wanted to be re-elected. And out of fear of not being re-elected due to popular interest, Faubus changed his stance and did whatever he could to stop the integration of schools. When I heard about action not taking place in Little Rock, the NAACP and I sought to make change happen. Willie Branton filed a lawsuit against the Little Rock School Board stating that they were discriminating towards blacks. The court ruled that the board was acting in a timely fashion and school was to start in the spring of 1957. The 9 students the NAACP chose had to be willing to deal with the repercussions of attempting to be the first blacks to attend Central High School. Those 9 students were Ernest Green, Elizabeth Eckford, Jefferson Thomas, Terrence Roberts, Carletta Walls Lanier, Minnie Jean Brown, Gloria Ray Colmar, Thelma Mothershed, and Melba Patillo Beals. September 4th, 1957 was the intended first day of school for the 9 black students. The night before, Orville Faubus ordered the Arkansas National Guard to surround the school, intentionally not allowing them to enter. He said that the troops were in place to keep the peace, even though a mob had formed outside of the school. The first day was unsuccessful as the National Guard did their job. The ongoing pressure toward integration of Central High School was placed in the hands of Judge Davis when he ruled that the students would attend school on September 23rd with the protection of the police and not the National Guard. This time, the students entered in through the side entrance away from the mob. The students were exposed to violent oppression, verbal abuse, and threats from the crowd outside. It continued into lunchtime as the mob breached police security and the students were sent home for their own safety. On September 24th, President Eisenhower had to order troops from the 101st Airborne Division to the school to escort the students and single out those who were disrupting integration. Eisenhower said in his address that the troops were being sent in to prevent the obstruction of the law and to carry out the orders of the federal court. With the protection of the 101st Airborne Division, on September 25th, the 9 black students walked through the front doors of the school and successfully remained there. The presence of armed troops controlled the more hostile and aggressive races at the school. However, it still wasn't enough to stop the kids from facing ongoing abuse, threats, and discrimination by their white peers. This unjust treatment persisted for many students and it deeply affected them in so many ways. Being their mentor, they would tell me the horrific circumstances they faced daily. The students were being tripped, shoved, called nasty names, pushed in their locker, and banned from extracurricular activities. I was so fed up with the discriminatory acts taking place, I wrote a letter to Roy Wilkins, who was executive director of the NAACP at the time, updating him with the continuous plight of the Little Rock Nine. The nation's reaction to the integration of Central High School was very mixed. The reaction from African Americans was obvious because they were finally happy they were getting the rights they deserved. Whites, however, were enraged that their kids were going to school with African Americans. A group called the Mothers League tried to file an injunction to prevent the school from becoming integrated. Despite these efforts, the integration of Central High School became the turning point in African American education and allowed for those that were once considered second class to become educated. It also symbolized massive resistance to social change and the support from the federal government as they were perceived as pro-civil rights. In May of 1958, Ernest Green became the first African American to graduate from Central High School. Despite this milestone, forward progress was slow. The school board continued to make claims that the educational process was disrupted and integration should be postponed until 1961. Among those in support of this was Governor Faubus. After the injunction for a segregated school, Faubus ordered the closing of all schools in Little Rock. However, such action was considered unconstitutional and the schools reopened in 1959 with both white and black students in attendance. The footage and media coverage of the crisis at Little Rock helped to put these unjust actions into the public eye, which helped to sway public opinion across the nation in support of integration. Central High was among the first schools to become integrated. It sparked a revolution for school integration in the South, and although the integration of schools helped to decrease the gap between racial equality, it did not change how many white people felt about blacks. Little Rock supported a major concept of the civil rights movement, which was that the courts can't change how white people think about blacks, they have to change themselves.